Section 41. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The person who came was Han Meng, the vice president of Tianyuan, and with him came a very strong and a very handsome middle-aged man. Hello, Vice President. The students and teachers in the audience hurriedly saluted after seeing the three people. At this moment, Lei Xian and the male teachers were all lowering their heads. No one looked at each other, for fear of being discovered. Who was talking about Dean Dainyu just now, and the goddess? Keep talking, I want to listen. That at this moment, the handsome middle-aged man said with a smile. Hearing what the handsome man said, Lei Xian and several male teachers raised their heads even lower. If they lowered any further, they would touch the ground. Hey, isn't this Lei Xian? Come and tell me about the goddess's figure. The handsome man winked at Lei Xian, who was lowering his head. Hypocrites misled me. Lei Xian shouted in his heart at this moment, and in an instant he greeted the handsome man several generations. Lei Xian slowly raised his head and said to the big shots in front of him. There are too many people here, so I won't say anything. Dean Lu, you should have said it earlier. I remember you told us last time. Shut up. Before he finished speaking, the handsome man shouted at Lei Xian, and Lei Xian's mouth closed immediately. Words come true. At this moment, the senior students next to him were all dumbfounded. At this moment, Lei Xian's open mouth closed instantly, and a woo-woo-woo sound came out of his mouth. The man surnamed Lu secretly breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that he was almost killed by this bastard. At this moment, the extremely muscular middle-aged man laughed. Lu Qingfeng, bullying students is nothing, come and fight with me if you have the guts. Lu Qingfeng said nothing, but just clasped his fists silently. No need to fight, I lost. That the audience was silent. Lu Qingfeng. Omega? Muscular man sad face _ Han Meng, oh Omega oh, everyone has seeing Lu Qingfeng like this. The muscular man didn't want to force him to fight, so he found a seat and sat down in a sullen mood. Han Meng said helplessly. Can you be more shameless? If you want, of course you can. Lu Qingfeng said seriously, it's hopeless. Lu Yen stroked her forehead, saying that she was very tired. Lei Xian was still struggling at this moment. After a long while, he was finally able to speak. Just as he was about to speak, he saw Vice Dean Lu staring at him with a bad look. He swallowed the words he was about to say again, and Lei Xian said embarrassedly. Dear teachers and dean, the new students of Tiandao Holy Academy are coming soon. Chapter 48 The Rules of Tiandao Holy Academy. After hearing the voice, the new students of Tiandao Holy Academy walked out of their dormitories and watched. The school did not notify where the entrance ceremony would be held, but at this moment, these new students saw that many students were heading towards the playground, so they did not hesitate and followed the crowd in front to run to the playground. Lu Qingchen, who was already in the group of new students, was constantly observing the surroundings. Because he was not particularly conspicuous hiding in the crowd, the sense of shame in his heart slowly disappeared at this moment. Lu Qingchen glanced around and found that there were not 1,000 people in the group of new students at this moment, because there were still a steady stream of new students coming in. At this moment, the new students in the academy were a little curious and began to discuss. Hey, do you know what we're going to do? I heard it's a freshman entrance ceremony. It won't be that simple. I heard from others that something exciting is going to happen. After waiting for nearly 10 minutes, a majestic voice suddenly came from the stage. Silence. The sudden voice made the noisy freshmen quiet down instantly. At this moment, nearly 1,000 freshmen looked up at the stage. A majestic middle-aged man stood on the stage. The middle-aged man looked around and shouted to the freshmen below. Very good, a total of 993 students out of 1,000 are here this time, and there are 7 who haven't come yet. All the cultivation resources for those who haven't come will be deducted for the first year. As soon as the voice fell, the faces of the freshmen changed, and they were all glad for their wise decision. Luckily, I followed the students of the academy to the playground, otherwise, what would I do if I didn't have resources? Lu Qingchen couldn't help but smack his lips. Tiandao Xingyuan is really domineering. They didn't care which students didn't come and just decided to deduct their resources for a year. What if there are geniuses among them? In fact, Lu Qingchen's idea is right, but as a senior executive of Tiandao Holy Academy, his vision is so sharp, just a quick glance around, the middle-aged man on the stage knew that all the talented people in this class were on the field. Of course, they only observed the top 10 geniuses who entered the academy this year, so it would be fine if these people were not among those who didn't come. Just as the freshmen started to discuss again, a boy just entered the playground. He happened to hear the words of the middle-aged man on the stage, so he looked up and asked with some dissatisfaction. "Why do you deduct our cultivation resources for 1 year? The academy didn't clearly notify when the entrance ceremony will be held, and it didn't say where it will be held. Why do we have to deduct our cultivation resources just because we are a little late?" At this moment, everyone fell silent and looked at the majestic middle-aged man on the stage. The man pointed at the freshman below the stage and said slowly, "Look carefully, there are 993 freshmen who have gathered. Do they know where the entrance ceremony will be held? And you came out of the dormitory after hearing the sound, and you saw the freshmen in other dormitories going to the playground," the man suddenly shouted. "Why are you indifferent when you see them all going to the playground? And you tell others everywhere that the academy is doing something weird and don't pay attention. Who gave you the qualifications to discredit Tiandao Xingyuan?" The student who asked a series of questions turned pale, wondering why he knew what I said. The freshman was extremely frightened at the moment, and it was not a small matter to discuss the entire academy. Many students looked at the freshman with some pity, and they estimated that he would not be able to stay in Tiandao Holy Academy. At this moment, the middle-aged man on the stage did not pay attention to the boy, but said solemnly to the more than 900 freshmen below, "I don't care what you were like before or what your background is, but from the moment you enter Tiandao Holy Academy, you are a student of Tiandao Holy Academy and must abide by the rules of the academy. Maybe you all thought you were geniuses before, and your parents and teachers also said you were geniuses. But," he suddenly paused. "It's just that there is never a shortage of geniuses in this world, and what Tiandao Xingyuan needs is monsters. Monsters, do you understand? After entering the academy, put away your pride, and let your grades speak for everything. If you don't agree with me, it doesn't matter. When your cultivation exceeds mine, you can also let me listen to you. Tiandao Xingyuan only worships the strong." The middle-aged man smiled slightly. "Remember, my name is Qingchen, and I am the dean of the outer courtyard of Tiandao Xingyuan. Welcome to challenge me." The voice he spoke was not actually loud, but the voice really rang in everyone's ears. After listening to what Qingchen said on the stage, the freshmen stopped making noise and all fell silent. At this moment, Qingchen also completely understood that in this academy, no one would care about your previous grades. What he needs to do is to practice hard and become stronger and stronger. Only 7 people didn't come this time, which is good. They are much stronger than the freshmen in previous years. Just when Qingchen was thinking about practicing hard, he heard Qingchen's voice again. After hearing this, some senior students couldn't help but lower their heads. Among those students who lowered their heads was Lei Xian. At this moment, many instructors in the audience looked at him speechlessly. For all the freshmen present this time, each person will be awarded 10 college points. Maybe you don't know what points are and what they are used for. I will tell you now. Section 42. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the Tiandao Holy Academy, 1 point can be exchanged for 100 soul stones. I believe you all know that soul stones can increase the speed of cultivation. After hearing what he said, many freshmen became excited. Sure enough, I did not choose the wrong academy. I got 1,000 soul stones right after I arrived. 1,000 soul stones. 1,000 soul stones may support ordinary students to practice for dozens of days, but for Qingchen, who has 3 martial arts, it may be gone in 1 day. This is the benefit that the academy gives to all freshmen. And if you are really a genius, you will get more resources, but you need to fight for it yourself. I won't say anything extra. Now everyone lines up and gathers to go to the Tiandao arena. As soon as he finished this sentence, Qingchen turned into a stream of light and went to the location. After seeing this, the other instructors and senior students all released their martial arts and rushed to the Tiandao arena at their fastest speed. In an instant, the field was boiling, and those flying in the sky and running on the ground exuded brilliant brilliance. Seeing that everyone released their martial arts, Qingchen no longer planned to keep a low profile. A pair of huge red wings spread out from his back, and the light emitted instantly overshadowed everyone. Many freshmen couldn't help but look over here, but he ignored them. A gust of wind swept over. Qingchen turned into a stream of light and disappeared from everyone's sight in an instant. Chapter 49 Simple Trial. On the Tiandao Arena. With the terrifying cultivation of the director of the outer courtyard of the Tiandao Holy Academy, Yanqing arrived at the location in less than 3 seconds. Han Meng, Lu Qingfeng and the muscular middle-aged man also arrived at the same time. If the freshmen were here at this moment, they would find that there were 11 huge arenas. The arena where Li Yanqing, Han Meng and others were now was surrounded by 10 ordinary arenas, forming a situation of many stars surrounding the moon. Compared with the other arenas, this arena is only 1/10 the size, but the entire arena is made of a special metal and looks extremely majestic. This arena is the Tiandao Arena. Li Yanqing, who had reached the arena in just 2 seconds, shouted loudly, and a voice rang in the ears of the students. The first 10 freshmen who reach the Tiandao Arena will be rewarded with 30 points. Hearing this, the freshmen instantly ran towards the martial arts arena like chicken blood. As the top of the National Martial Arts exam, Qingchen was of course the first to arrive at the martial arts arena. At this moment, several big men on the Tiandao Arena were looking at him seriously. Of course, Han Meng didn't, but just blinked his bright big eyes at Qingchen, saying that his apprentice performed well. The burly middle-aged man patted Qingchen on the shoulder and laughed. "Good boy, this speed is really good." Qingchen felt that his body was about to be beaten to pieces, and grinned. "Thank you for the compliment, Dean." In his previous life, Qingchen, as a 5-poison youth, was well versed in worldly affairs. He was really skilled in praising people, and it was still unnoticeable. Hearing Qingchen's words, the burly middle-aged man was stunned for a moment, then laughed loudly and winked at Qingfeng. "Ahaha, no way, no way." Qingfeng silently retreated 10 meters away. Qingfeng expressed his disdain for the burly man's performance very impolitely. "This kid is really ignorant. Didn't he see that I am more like the dean than this stupid cow?" At this moment, Qingfeng couldn't help but mutter secretly. After a while, a green shadow flew towards Qingchen and instantly landed on the ring. Qingchen took a closer look and found that this was a tall woman with fair skin, and next to this woman, there was someone Qingchen had seen before. It was the green-haired girl who asked Qingchen who he was in the villa area that time. The two landed together, and it should be the tall woman who brought the green-haired girl. Without thinking any more, Qingchen sensed the breath of his good brother Yushan. A yellow light rushed over, and Yushan rushed over quickly, almost bumping into Qingfeng, who was 10 meters away from Qingchen. Qingfeng was startled at this moment, and was almost bumped by another burly body while standing well. This action made Han Meng chuckle. Yushan finally stopped, and then smiled at Qingfeng honestly. "I'm sorry, Dean, I can't control myself for a while." He is worthy of being Qingchen's good brother. He has learned the skills of talking very well. 2 sentences made Qingfeng smile, and he patted Yushan's thick arms excitedly, and said excitedly, It's okay, come on, young man, I'm rooting for you." Yushan grinned to show respect. Then several figures flashed and arrived on the stage one after another. Qingchen found that one of them was the person who wanted to challenge him in the cafeteria before. The top 10 have all arrived. Soon, a large army of freshmen arrived at the Tiandao Holy Academy one after another. Seeing that more than a dozen people had already arrived on the stage, everyone couldn't help but sigh. 30 points are gone, 3,000 soul stones are gone. At this moment, the 11th freshman who arrived was bleeding in his heart. Actually, Qingchen originally wanted to bring Yushan with him, but considering Yushan's cultivation and talent, he must be in the top 10, and many college leaders are here at the moment, and everyone can see Yushan's performance. Maybe some big boss will take a fancy to this kid's talent and accept him as a disciple. Seeing that the freshmen have all arrived, Li Yanqing said loudly. Speed is also a manifestation of strength. When you encounter danger in the future, speed is also a means of saving your life. Many freshmen curled their lips in disdain and did not listen. Li Yanqing on the stage saw the expressions of the freshmen at the moment and said in a deep voice. I know what you are thinking. You all still think you are geniuses. You are all proud in your heart, thinking that I must fight to the end when I encounter danger. Everyone looked up at him. But have you ever thought about it? With your current cultivation level, you may not be able to defeat any soul warrior. Even at my level, there are still many people stronger than me. I will run away when I meet a strong man I can't defeat, let alone you. Remember, life is the first priority. If you lose your life, how can you talk about cultivating to become a strong man? Lu Qingchen listened to the dean's words silently, and what he said was actually not wrong at all. Lu Qingchen, who had experienced that ambush, still remembers it clearly. Compared with the strong, he is really just an insignificant dust. At this moment, listening to Li Yanqing saying these words to the freshman on the stage, he couldn't help but straighten his back slightly. The dean on the stage continued. I know some of you still don't believe it, so let's do a simple test now. I want to see if you have the capital to be proud. He took a step back slightly, and the burly middle-aged man came out. I am the vice president of Tiandao Holy Academy. You can call me President Chu. There is a simple assessment for this freshman ceremony. Let me announce the rules. See the 10 arenas in front of you? You 1,000 people will be scattered on the 10 arenas, with 100 people on each arena. What you have to do is to make yourself stand on the arena and not fall down, no matter what means you use. The assessment will not end until there are only 10 people left on the arena. President Chu, I want to ask, if there is a punishment for the students who are not on the arena in the end? A freshman asked in confusion. No punishment, but the top 100 students will have the qualification to enter the core class. Is there any difference in the core class? Another freshman couldn't help asking. Of course there is. The cultivation resources of freshmen in the core class are much better than those in the ordinary class. Ignoring the freshman under the stage, President Chu waved his hand, and countless rays of light fell. Each freshman had an extra nameplate in his hand, and Lu Qingchen looked at the number on the nameplate. Section 43. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ring number 1. Chapter 50. Lu Qingchen's strength. After reading his nameplate, Lu Qingchen looked towards Yushan. I'm in ring number 4. Yushan said with a smile, and directly said the ring he was in. At this time, a crisp voice was heard next to him. Sister Ningyue, which ring are you in? The tall girl who arrived at the ring second smiled. I'm in ring number 3. Ah. I'm in ring number 2. The blue-haired girl said with some regret. Deputy Dean Chu heard the conversation between the few people and smiled at them. Don't mutter, little ghosts. The top 10 students who arrived at the Tiandao ring have been separated, that is to say, there is a freshman in the top 10 on each ring now. So that's the case. Murong Qingqing blinked her bright eyes, indicating that she understood. Now everyone goes to the various rings according to the numbers on the nameplates. It will start in 1 minute. You, come on. Deputy Dean Chu encouraged these freshmen with some gloating. After hearing what the vice president said, the crowd immediately became agitated. They all went to the arena where the numbers on their nameplates were, fearing that they would not be able to grab a good position. Lu Qingchen and Yushan walked slowly to their own arena. Lu Qingchen had already begun to rub shoulders with others, and was a little eager to move. A moment later, the arena was full of people, and the arena challenge began. Most of the freshmen may have participated in this kind of trial for the first time, and they all stood in place for a while, without any movement. How can you win in a big fight of more than 100 people? Become the last 10 strong men standing on the arena. Some freshmen who ranked high in this martial arts exam and freshmen with backgrounds also looked solemn at this moment. The next moment, they all began to look for people they knew in the crowd, as Lu Qingchen, who had awakened the supreme martial spirit, had long been eager to fight. Seeing that no one had started for a long time, he shouted. Excuse me. Everyone here is garbage. As soon as these words fell, they severely stimulated these freshmen. One of the boys shouted loudly. Brothers, let's drive him off the stage first, and then we'll decide the winner. The boy roared, his whole body flashing with silver light and his palms extended with several claws, he released his martial spirit and ran towards Lu Qingchen at a very fast speed. Seeing someone coming up, Lu Qingchen's eyes lit up, his whole body flashed with red light, and one arm turned into a red-gold claw. The next moment, the two claws collided with each other, and the boy with the silver light flashing had a distorted face. Then he screamed and was taken away by a ray of light. One person is out of the number 1 ring, and there are 99 people left, Li Yanqing said loudly. Because they were all freshmen and had no combat experience, the college leaders were afraid that the students would be too heavy to fight and die, so once they were determined to be in danger of life, they would help. At this moment, there were instructors watching next to each ring, and they were even afraid that the instructors would not have time to rescue. The director of the external department of Tiandao Holy Academy also supervised it personally, and the 3 vice presidents were also nearby. At this moment, the students on the number 1 ring saw that the boy who had just fought with Lu Qingchen was judged to be defeated, and they couldn't help but take a few steps back. Although the small group of more than 20 people took 2 steps back, Lu Qingchen did not intend to let him go. At this moment, Lu Qingchen rushed towards the small group instantly. With his thick claws waving, Lu Qingchen, who had a strength of more than 5,000 kilograms before the awakening state, was like a tiger entering a flock of sheep. Every time the red gold claws were waving, a student was taken away. For a while, this ring became Lu Qingchen's stage. When the other freshmen saw this situation, the idea that they had just thought of in their hearts was dispelled, and they all randomly selected one person to start a fierce battle. At this moment, 2 people on the field saw that Lu Qingchen was so powerful, and the fighting spirit in their bodies was aroused, and they rushed towards Lu Qingchen when their martial spirits were possessed. I saw that a small part of the body of the person on the left was covered with gray scales, and his eyes became more like those of a snake. An unknown liquid sprayed towards Lu Qingchen. The hair of the person on the right instantly turned khaki, and his body became very strong. Seeing that his companion had already started, he immediately waved his fist towards Lu Qingchen. They cooperated very well. Once Lu Qingchen dodged, their subsequent attack would be more fierce. But how could Lu Qingchen, who was the top of the martial arts exam, retreat? He was not afraid of anyone at the same level. At this moment, he snorted coldly, and a flame rose around him instantly. The moment the unknown liquid touched the flame, it burned instantly and turned into nothing. At the same time, Lu Qingchen's thick red gold claws quickly swung at the oncoming fists. The moment the two collided, a stream of blood gushed out from the boy's fist. The man instantly stepped back and stared at Lu Qingchen with a bad look. Lu Qingchen strode forward, not wanting to let this man go. A pair of huge red wings spread out from his back, and his speed increased instantly, and his figure flashed. With a sturdy arm swinging out, the man with khaki hair was taken away by the instructor. After seeing this man eliminated, Lu Qingchen turned around and rushed towards the boy with snake-like eyes. The student had a cold face and saw Lu Qingchen rushing towards him. A snake-like forked tongue spitted out of his mouth, and a liquid more poisonous than before sprayed towards Lu Qingchen. Lu Qingchen, who was rushing towards him at this moment, obviously couldn't avoid this attack, and saw the red gold scales covering his arms instantly. Lu Qingchen waved his arm to block this attack. And the venom hit the red gold scales. It made a sizzling sound and then turned into mist. The cold student saw that he couldn't hide in time, so he thought about being rescued by the instructor and taken off the stage. His idea was actually right. After launching an attack, he couldn't stop the terrifying attack of Lu Qingchen's claws. It was just that Lu Qingchen eliminated his companions, and he was willing to eliminate him to cause some damage to Lu Qingchen. Seeing that Lu Qingchen was already rushing, he no longer dodged. He knew that the instructor of the academy would not let him get seriously injured, but he didn't expect Lu Qingchen's idea. Lu Qingchen, who possessed the Golden Emperor Dragon martial soul, had a natural restraint against snake-like martial souls. Seeing the student's cold face and attacking him mercilessly, Lu Qingchen's eyes flashed with a cold light. He roared, and the breath of the supreme martial soul spread around him like a tide. The breath of the instructor who had already taken action was suppressed for a moment, but he reacted immediately. But it was too late. At this moment, Lu Qingchen was waving his claws like a sharp blade and slapped the student with a cold face. Chapter 51. Standing on the ring is the enemy. The pupils of the cold-faced student suddenly contracted, and his eyes were full of fear. A flash of red gold light flashed, and blood splashed out. The student's chest was torn, and his breath instantly became weak. At this moment, the instructor reacted and hurriedly stopped Lu Qingchen for fear that he would kill again. Lu Qingchen, who had dealt a heavy blow to the student, had no intention of killing him again, but his eyes were slightly indifferent. However, the college instructor who came to the ring couldn't help but say, "Student, you clearly knew that he had no strength to fight anymore. Why did you do such a cruel thing?" Lu Qingchen frowned slightly and said coldly, "If he didn't attack me in the end, I wouldn't want to do this, but who knows if he has hidden means to continue to attack me. Since we are all enemies on the ring, I won't show mercy to any of them. That would be too early to die. I think if it were you, the instructor, would you be kind to the enemy who just attacked you?" The instructor was speechless immediately after what Lu Qingchen said. Indeed, everyone on the ring was an enemy, and it was indeed the student who took the initiative to attack, but he still couldn't help but say, "It's true that everyone on the stage is an enemy, but there's no need to use such heavy hands. After all, we're all classmates off the stage." I've already said it. He knew he was going to be eliminated but still wanted to disgust me. I just did what I should do. Lu Qingchen's tone was already very cold at this moment. Section 44. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If the instructor has time to defend him, he might as well take him to treatment earlier and not miss the best time for rescue. Just as the instructor was about to continue speaking, a figure suddenly appeared on the stage. "Okay, take this student to treatment. Lu Qingchen did nothing wrong. Being kind to the enemy is cruel to yourself." This figure is Li Yanqing, the dean of the external school. At this moment, he looked at Lu Qingchen with appreciation. "Young man, you did a good job. You really can't hold back on the enemy. It was the instructor's mistake not to save the student in time. I don't blame you. I look forward to your performance later." Without waiting for Lu Qingchen to speak, Li Yanqing had already turned into a stream of light and rushed to another arena. This man is quite reasonable, worthy of being the dean of Tiandao Xingyuan. Lu Qingchen scratched his head and sighed in his heart. At another arena at this moment, as Mu Ningyue's figure flashed, the freshmen were taken off the arena by the instructor one by one, announcing the results of elimination. At the number 4 arena where Yushan, possessed by the spirit, looked extremely burly at this moment, as if he was wearing heavy armor. His aura was even more powerful. As his fists swung, freshmen fell one by one, and none of them could resist. At this moment, the senior students watched with relish, including several senior leaders of the academy. The top spirit is indeed a huge advantage. Talent is really not just talk. Lu Qingfeng said with some sighs at this moment. Of course, otherwise why do the other 2 academies offer such generous conditions to the academy with good talent? It can be said that good talent is blessed by God. Students with top talents have begun to shine from the beginning. Dean Chu also said seriously to the other 2. Ring number 1, after the little episode just now, no student on the field dared to attack Lu Qingchen. Nonsense, if you lose, it will be troublesome. Why provoke this ruthless person? I haven't lived enough, but Lu Qingchen didn't think so at the moment. Seeing that there were fewer and fewer people on the nearby arenas, Lu Qingchen also wanted to end this assessment as soon as possible. He felt that the subsequent assessments would be more interesting. Thinking of this, he no longer hesitated, and took away the freshmen one by one in a flash. Time passed quickly, and just as Lu Qingchen was about to attack the next person, a serious voice sounded in his ears. The assessment of the number 1 arena has ended, and the remaining 10 people have won. You are not allowed to continue. After hearing this voice, the 2 people who were fighting fiercely on the number 1 arena also stopped, and the other people did not attack again. You 10 people can rest on the arena to restore your soul power and wait for the assessments on the other arenas to end. Li Yanqing said to the 10 people on the number 1 arena. Seeing that the other 9 people sat on the arena to restore their soul power, Lu Qingchen also sat down and recalled the details of the battle just now. After solving an enemy, he rushed to the student with a gloomy face, and he didn't even have time to dodge the attack. He could only forcibly use the power of the martial soul to resist. But what if the liquid was more toxic, or what if it could harm him? Lu Qingchen began to think about his shortcomings in the battle. At this moment, more and more people were eliminated on the other stages, and as a student on the last stage was defeated, this simple trial was announced to be over. All the freshmen who had been eliminated hung their heads, and they could not accept the result of their elimination. After all, before entering the Tiandao Holy Academy, they all thought they were geniuses among 10,000. It was not until the end of this simple assessment that they realized how naive their ideas were. Those who were still standing on the stage were truly outstanding. Even if a small team was recruited in this trial, a certain strength was required, especially the freshmen on the number 1 stage. They had a little fear of the figure on the stage who looked a little handsome and innocent. After a trial, Qingchen eliminated nearly half of the people by himself. He was ruthless, so that the freshmen who were eliminated by him had a shadow on him. There are still some eliminated freshmen who are not under the ring. Yes, some of them should still be receiving treatment. Looking at the reactions of these freshmen under the ring, Qingchen nodded with satisfaction. This is the effect he wants. He walked slowly to the Tiandao ring and said to the audience, "How about it, do you still think you are a genius? Do you still think you are invincible in the same realm? Now do you realize that there are people who are better than you and there are heavens beyond heaven?" That there was silence in the audience, and no one spoke. "Answer me." Qingchen suddenly shouted. His move startled the freshmen who were immersed in failure. Everyone raised their heads and said weakly, "Yes." "Speak louder. Where is the man's momentum? What's so sad about just losing a game? Cheer up." That the group of freshmen under the ring raised their heads. Qingchen continued, "Failure is not terrible. What is terrible is that your heart is defeated. If you can't even bear this little setback, then I think you should go back to where you came from." Chapter 52 The Last Test. When the freshmen under the ring heard what Qingchen said, the light in their eyes instantly lit up again. At this moment, the freshmen were full of hope and stared at the dean of the external school. Qingchen wanted this effect, so he nodded with satisfaction. "Yes, it seems that your hearts are not as fragile as I thought." He suddenly turned his eyes and looked at the 100 people still standing on the ring, then turned to the eliminated freshmen and said in a deep voice, "Now let's go to the next trial and let you see how these freshmen who are still standing on the ring face the challenge." The eliminated freshmen under the ring instantly boiled. They also wanted to see what was so special about the 100 people who defeated them. At this moment, Qingchen said to the 100 students standing upright on the stage, "I promised you before that the first 100 can enter the core class for training, but there is one more thing I forgot to say. Everyone standing on the stage will be rewarded with 100 points. The victorious students on the stage couldn't help but grin with joy when they heard this. 100 points, so many. Just when everyone was enjoying the joy of victory, the dean changed his tone and continued with a smile. "Not only that, I will give you a chance to get rich. As long as you participate in this assessment, you will have the opportunity to get another 500 points, 500 points. If calculated according to the ratio, that would be 50,000 soul stones." The freshmen on the stage were silent, and only heavy breathing could be heard on the field. The students who had been eliminated were already dazed at this moment, and some of them were even bleeding with heartache, regretting why they didn't persist a little longer. Even Qingchen, who had a lot of soul stones on him, was tempted at this moment. That was 50,000 soul stones. "Can I ask the dean, how can I get these 500 points? At this moment, a student on the stage couldn't help but ask. The other freshman on the stage also looked at Qingchen. Qingchen smiled slightly, with a gloating smile on his face. He said loudly, "I just said that if you participate in this assessment, as long as you win, you can get 500 points." After saying this, the instructor waved to the other side. For a moment, dazzling rays of light fell on the Tiandao arena from all places, and the light disappeared after a few seconds. Many freshmen on the arena looked at the Tiandao arena and found that there were as many as 20 figures. Each figure was dressed in white, which was the school uniform of Tiandao Holy Academy. There was a yellow Tiandao Academy school emblem on the white school uniform. Qingchen remembered Lei Xian had told him that yellow represents the second-year students of the external school. The freshman who had just won the first round of assessment looked at the 20 figures, and Qingchen also took a quick look. The school badge on the uniform of the female student in the front was gold. The core students of the second year. Qingchen's eyes widened, as if he had guessed the content of the next assessment, as if he had sensed everyone's thoughts. Qingchen no longer kept them in suspense. Section 45. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tell the rules of this time directly to the 100 freshmen on the stage. You performed very well in the first trial, but the opponents you face next will no longer be other freshmen, but students from the outer courtyard of Tiandao Holy Academy. That I saw the 20 outer academy students on the Tiandao arena looking at the 100 freshmen. These students from the outer courtyard have smiles on their faces, some are a little contemptuous, and some are gloating. Only the woman at the front stood proudly, seemingly unwilling to be among the other 19 students. Are these the freshmen of this year's Tiandao Holy Academy? They look good, a second-year student with an ordinary face said to his companions with a smile. Don't underestimate them. I heard some people say that even the top scorers in the National Martial Arts exam entered our academy this time. So what if we top the list in the martial arts test? We can't beat the newcomers. There's nothing to worry about. That's right. Lan Xiao is here this time. I don't know why the leaders are so crazy that they even sent out core students. I think so too. The freshmen on the stage also noticed the attitude of these senior students towards them, which seemed not to be very friendly. Li Yanqing said loudly. The people in front of you are your seniors. Your task in this assessment is to select your opponent and then defeat him. As long as you defeat them, you will get the 500 points as a reward, but if you lose, I'm sorry if you lose. The 100 points you just gained belong to your seniors. That the dean's voice echoed in the ears of many freshmen. After hearing Li Yanqing say that if he lost, he would lose 100 points, some students already had some intention of quitting. Those who quit now will still have the 100 academy points. Those who want to quit can quit the ring now. As soon as he finished speaking, freshmen were leaving the arena one after another. Some freshmen are very clear about their own strength, while others have a little bit of luck in their first pass. 1 minute later, it was clear that less than half of the students were left on the 10 arenas, but compared to the number of 20 students from the outer academy, it was still a bit too much. Li Yanqing waved his hand, and the second-year students on the Tiandao arena took a step forward. The momentum on his body exploded, instantly overwhelming the freshmen on the stage and making them breathless. At this moment, Li Yanqing looked at the remaining students with a smile and asked again. If you want to quit now, it's still too late. Otherwise if you lose, your points will be gone. Call out. Most of the people in the ring left the ring instantly. Joke. Even if you can barely bear the momentum, you still challenge me. Isn't this looking for trouble? At this moment, everyone in the college, including the 3 vice deans, were looking at these students intently to see who were left. Han Meng also stared at the people on the ring seriously. But she only looked at Lu Qingchen. Seeing that Lu Qingchen had no intention of retreating, the corners of Han Meng's mouth rose slightly and unnoticeably. After a while, only a handful of the 40 or 50 students who were on the stage were left. If anyone still remembers, they are the 10 students who were the first to arrive at the Tiandao arena. Lu Qingchen looked towards the 4th arena at this moment, and saw Yu Shan also looking towards the arena where he was. The two looked at each other and couldn't help but smile. Lu Qingchen looked at the 20 figures on the Tiandao arena and couldn't help but feel a little expectant. Let me see the strength of the senior students of Tiandao Holy Academy. Chapter 53. The despised Lu Qingchen. Call out. Call out. At this moment, 2 more dazzling figures suddenly flew towards this side, followed closely by many senior students. The second-year and third-year students present could not help but widen their eyes. Red school badge. Are the 4th-year students here too? Is the trial for a freshman so important? The 2 rays of light at the front fell, revealing 2 stunning women. The woman on the left is astonishingly beautiful, with long, smooth and beautiful blue hair, skin like snow, and picturesque eyebrows. The facial features are exquisite, without a single flaw. The woman on the right is tall and has long burgundy hair, looking a little lazy and proud. Her slightly reddish eyes exuded a hint of temptation, making her a peerless beauty. In addition to the freshmen on the stage, the remaining students from the outer college include 4th-year students from the outer college. They all stared at the 2 women with burning eyes. Seeing everyone's reaction, the woman with burgundy hair couldn't help but softly said to the stunning beauty next to her. Xiaoxue, why do you suddenly want to watch the freshman trial? Could it be This stunning woman named Xiaoxue said helplessly. I have been practicing for such a long time. I just came out to get some fresh air. Don't think too much about it. If Lu Qingchen sees these two women now, he will find that the blue-haired woman is actually his sister he has not seen for a long time. Lu Qingxue did not take part in the National Martial Arts examination that year, but was taken away directly by a mysterious strong man. Lu Qingchen once heard his father say that his father also knew that strong man. I just didn't expect that Lu Qingxue was also in Tiandao Holy Academy and became a core disciple. However, Lu Qingchen did not look at the extra people around the arena at this moment. Instead, he stared at the 22nd-year students on the Tiandao arena with fiery eyes. Li Yanqing waved his embroidered robe and shouted to the 10 students. You 10 people, go to the Tiandao arena. 10 dazzling lights flashed, and the next moment the 10 freshmen appeared on the Tiandao arena, facing the 20 senior college students from a distance. Looking at the 10 freshmen in front of him, Li Yanqing showed a satisfied smile and began to announce the rules. The ones in front of you are your seniors. Whoever you draw later will get the 500 points as long as he defeats him. That when they heard the 500 points, several of them couldn't help swallowing their saliva. Li Yanqing then turned to the second-year students and said, Since there are only 10 freshmen this time, I will throw out 10 nameplates. Whoever gets them will go to the battle. Do you understand? As soon as the voice fell, Li Yanqing threw 10 nameplates to them. In the flickering light and shadow, 10 nameplates have been taken by people one after another. The 10 students who didn't grab the nameplate smiled bitterly. It's really a bargain for you. You earned 100 college points for nothing. Lu Qingchen looked carefully and found that the core student of the second grade was on the list. Li Yanqing then threw another 10 nameplates to Lu Qingchen and others. Each of you can pick one at random. Seeing this, several people here all took a nameplate at random. Lu Qingchen did the same. He opened the nameplate he got and saw a big word written on it. 1. The 10 freshmen and 10 old students on the field looked in their respective directions, looking forward to who their opponents would be. I am number 10. Number 9. Number 8. Number 1. The last cold voice sounded. It was said by the woman called Lan Xiao by others. When the last second-year core student called out his number, the students and instructors outside the ring all looked at the 10 freshmen. They were very curious about which unlucky guy got number 1. I'm number 8. Yu Shan's voice rang out. Number 3. Number 2. Mu Ningyue and Murong Qingqing's voices also rang out. After everyone finished calling out their numbers, everyone on the field looked at the last person. At this moment, Han Meng was also somewhat speechless looking at the pretty figure on the ring, but there was a hint of expectation in her heart. Lu Qingxue and the wine-red woman couldn't help but look over, wondering whose luck was so bad. When Lu Qingxue saw the pretty face of the figure, she couldn't help but cover her mouth with her hands, her eyes full of disbelief. The wine-red-haired woman next to her saw Lu Qingxue's reaction and couldn't help asking. Section 46. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What's wrong, Xiaoxue? Do you know the unlucky guy on the stage? Lu Qingxue suddenly recalled the time when she was still at home a few years ago. The boy who was only at the first level of the tempering body realm and was not keen on martial arts was her younger brother. The thin figure at home a few years ago and the tall and straight figure on the stage in front of her gradually overlapped. Lu Qingxue said to the beautiful woman next to her in a complicated way. Actually, he. When everyone reported their nameplate numbers, countless strange and pitying eyes looked at Lu Qingchen. Seeing this, Lu Qingchen's mouth twitched slightly, and he reported the best lot he drew with some helplessness. I am number 1. Hey, the top of the martial arts exam this time and the core students met together. Interesting, ha 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 ha. Lu Qingfeng suddenly laughed. This time there was something exciting to watch. Shut up. Hearing Lu Qingfeng's smug smile, Han Meng snorted. I couldn't help but worry about my apprentice. Seeing this, Lu Qingfeng even closed his mouth, but he couldn't hide the strange look on his face. At this moment, Li Yanqing looked at Lu Qingchen and said with some concern. Lu Qingchen, since you have drawn a core student, you now have a chance to give up the challenge. In this way, you can still take 100 college points. If you accept the challenge and lose, Li Yanqing looked at the assessment materials of these students and remembered that Lu Qingchen's other fighting spirit only had one soul slot, and he was afraid that he would be hit after losing. However, before Li Yanqing finished speaking, he was interrupted by Lu Qingchen. Students thanked Director Li for his concern, but since I have drawn this nameplate, I will accept this challenge. Lan Xiao on the opposite side shook her head when she saw this. The Dean of Teaching gave her an opportunity but didn't grasp it. At that moment, he could not help but frown and said to Lu Qingchen arrogantly. Lu Qingchen, the top of this martial arts exam, I have read your information, maybe your other talents are top-notch, but I advise you to give up the talent of this one-star fighting spirit. Lan Zhao's somewhat cold voice spread in this huge martial arts arena, and many senior students were gloating. After all, they are not core members, but they are quite willing to watch the top of this martial arts exam in front of them make a fool of themselves. Hearing Lan Zhao's arrogant voice, Lu Qingchen frowned, but he did not change his mind, but continued. Thank you for your kindness, but I will not give up even if there is only a slight chance. At this moment, Lu Qingchen's handsome face was slightly proud, and he slowly said to Lan Xiao in front of him. I have long wanted to experience the strength of the core students. Chapter 54 Golden Crow Burning Heaven Pong. On the Tiandao arena, Lu Qingchen's voice slowly fell, and the crowd around heard this sentence, and they were all boiling. Who is he? Director Li gave him a chance but he didn't want it. I heard he's the top student in this martial arts exam. What a proud man. Nonsense, the top 100 freshmen in previous years were all very proud. You know that. Hee, no matter how he ranks, he'll be honest after a beating. That's right, hee. Instantly, the senior students around him started talking, and no one was optimistic about Lu Qingchen. They had all experienced this situation, so they could guess the tragic ending of some freshman. The core female student was stunned when she heard Lu Qingchen's words. Lan Xiao didn't expect the freshman to be so ungrateful. At the moment, she couldn't help but say to him with a little sarcasm. As expected, he's the top student in the martial arts exam. He's so proud. She paused, sneered and continued to sneer. But what I want to say is that the arrogance born of youthful recklessness is destined to be a desperate ending that one cannot accept. It seems that the students of this class are really disappointing. These words not only made the other freshmen on the stage glare, but also made the eliminated students under the stage angry. Han Meng, who was far away, couldn't help but frown slightly when she heard what Lan Xiao said. I don't know if it was because of Lu Qingchen, but she didn't like this core student very much. Seeing Lan Xiao look down on him so much, Lu Qingchen couldn't help but chuckle. Staring at the proud expression on Lan Xiao's face, he said word by word. I'm sorry, senior sister, no, this second-year core student. In my opinion, the person who can't accept despair and a tragic ending will be you. Lu Qingchen's aura began to rise, and his handsome face began to become a little ferocious, and he sneered. Excuse me, you 10 second-year students, including you, are all garbage. Such arrogant words came out of Lu Qingchen's mouth, echoing in the air of the Tiandao arena for a long time. Everyone present was stunned. What is he talking about? How dare this freshman? A huge question rose in the hearts of the senior students, and then they thought that this freshman was crazy. The woman with wine-red hair covered her mouth lightly, and said to Lu Qingxue in shock. Your brother is too brave. Lan Xiao, who was standing opposite, was so angry that she trembled all over, her face was full of clouds, and she asked with gritted teeth. Who did you say was trash? Say it again. Lu Qingchen spread his hands without caring, and said helplessly. It seems that I was right. Not only is he trash, but he can't even hear clearly. In fact, Lu Qingchen didn't want to do this, but Lan Zhao's words made him angry. He felt superior before he even fought, and looked down on the freshman. At this moment, Lan Xiao was almost angry to the point of blacking out. After a few seconds, she didn't say anything else, but said coldly to Li Yanqing next to her. Director Li, it's time to start. Standing on the ring, Li Yanqing was still doubting that he had heard it wrong. When he saw Lan Xiao asking him, he reacted instantly. He said solemnly to the 20 freshmen and seniors on the Tiandao arena. Now the students who have drawn the nameplates go to their respective arenas and prepare to start fighting. that the 20 students on the arena heard this and instantly turned into streams of light and rushed to their respective arenas, quietly waiting for the start of the trial. The light shields on the 10 arenas slowly rose, and Qingchen and Lan Xiao in front of him looked at each other, their eyes full of fighting spirit. Begin! Li Yanqing shouted, and all 10 arenas were covered by a layer of white light. As soon as his voice fell, Qingchen's arms turned into claws and rushed towards Lan Xiao. Lan Xiao looked at Qingchen, who was rushing over, smiled contemptuously, and a pair of wings broke out of his back and instantly rose into the air. Lan Xiao, floating in the sky, looked at Qingchen with a sarcastic expression on his face. The next moment, many sharp ice spikes shot at Qingchen, who was still below. Seeing this, Qingchen chuckled, spread his wings behind him, and instantly rose into the air, dodging countless sharp ice spikes. Since the senior sister is so enthusiastic, I should return the favor. Qingchen's wings glowed, and a huge flame beam of light went towards Lan Xiao to suppress him. Outside the light shield, many people widened their eyes. They didn't expect that this freshman would be so difficult to deal with, and Lan Xiao couldn't suppress him immediately. Lu Qingfeng, one of the 3 vice deans, shook his head and sighed to Han Meng and the middle-aged man named Chu. The freshmen nowadays are really more perverted than each other. They can display their magical powers while they are still in the spiritual martial arts realm. Han Meng heard this and smiled softly. Of course, he is the top of the martial arts exam this time. You should all know how perverted the freshmen of this year are, right? The 2 people next to him nodded. Indeed, there are many perverted people in this year. It is heard that the younger generations of many deans of famous schools have participated. The battle on the ring is still going on. Lan Xiao looked at the huge pillar of blazing light coming towards her, but she didn't dodge or avoid it, and rushed straight towards it. The cold soul power condensed into a cold ice sword in her hand. She held the sword condensed by soul power and chopped it hard at the blazing light pillar. Crack! The huge blazing light pillar was split by the cold ice sword in Lan Xiao's hand and shot towards the light shield behind her, splashing ripples. Section 47. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lan Xiao picked up the sword in her hand and stabbed forward slowly. Suddenly a sharp sword light appeared and stabbed Qingchen fiercely. Ice spike! A delicate cry came from Lan Xiao's mouth, and the sharp sword light seemed to penetrate the space and stabbed Qingchen fiercely. Seeing the sharp sword light coming towards him, Qingchen raised his red-gold claws and slapped the sword light fiercely. Buzz! The sharp sword light was shattered in an instant, and suddenly 1 or 2 voices came. The winner of the number 8 ring is Yushan. The winner of the number 3 ring is Mu Ningyue. The light shields on the 2 rings were shattered, and 4 figures immediately emerged. Standing on the ring were Yushan and the tall Mu Ningyue, and their opponents, the second-year students of the outer courtyard, were half kneeling on the ground at this moment, their faces flushed. It was not because of the injuries, but because it was not easy to see their faces. Yushan, this kid, actually won before me. I really didn't expect it. After hearing the voice, Qingchen slowly exhaled a breath of turbid air, and then he stopped hesitating, and the momentum of the 3-legged golden crow martial soul instantly burst out. Lan Xiao was instantly suppressed by the 3-legged golden crow's extremely young and extremely strong aura. The next moment, a flaming palm that covered the sky and the sun suppressed her. Golden crow. Burning sky palm. A majestic voice slowly came out from Qingchen's mouth. Chapter 55. Remember their names. Boom. The sky-covering hand with blazing flames fiercely suppressed Lan Xiao's place. Lan Xiao, who was suppressed by the 3-legged golden crow martial soul just now, only reacted now, seeing that the huge flaming palm was about to hit her fiercely. It was too late to dodge at this moment. Am I going to lose? Lan Xiao's heart was shaking violently, but she was still unwilling to lose to a freshman like this. An ice-blue bird martial soul was released, and she made the last resistance. But Qingchen's attack was so fierce that his extremely young and strong aura directly broke through Lan Xiao's defense. There was a loud bang on the ring, and Lan Xiao's proud martial spirit defense was completely defeated. The martial spirit turned into a stream of light and returned to her body. Her face was pale and her body trembled violently. The huge palm kept appearing in her eyes and suppressed her, and a trace of fear flashed in her eyes. Yes, if Li Yanqing hadn't made a move at the last moment, Lan Xiao would have been seriously injured even if she survived. The extremely young and strong aura of the three-legged golden crow can penetrate everything, let alone the avian martial spirit of the ice system that is opposite to the fire system. At this moment, the light shield has fallen, and Li Yanqing stands between the two of them, looking at Lu Qingchen meaningfully. Many external students and freshmen outside the ring are staring at the gradually dissipating light shield. Because of Li Yanqing's move, they are all looking forward to seeing the expression of Lu Qingchen, who was arrogant just now, being defeated at this moment, looking at Lu Qingchen standing proudly on the stage and Lan Xiao whose body was still trembling. Everyone outside the stage widened their eyes. They couldn't believe that it was such a result. The final winner on the stage turned out to be the freshman. The most incredible thing was the second-year students. They knew how difficult it was to become a core student, and Lan Zhao's strength was also among the best among the second-year core students. She was a strong man in the earth martial realm, but seeing the scene on the stage, no matter how incredible it felt, I had to admit that the freshman won in the end. Lin Wu fought against Earth Martial, and he won the battle across a large realm. It seems that this term of the newcomer king must be him. Li Yanqing on the stage and the three vice presidents outside did not pay attention to the reactions of these students. Not only that, at this moment, Lu Qingfeng and Ding Chu left in a hurry. Only Han Meng was left on the field, watching the backs of the two people leaving. Han Meng's pretty mouth couldn't help but slightly raise, as if she was looking forward to a great show. Looking at Li Yanqing's figure on the ring, Lan Zhao's face was full of complex colors. She glanced at the proud young man standing opposite, and gently said to Li Yanqing, "Director Li, I lost." Then she slowly walked towards Lu Qingchen, and the two looked at each other for a few seconds. Lan Xiao bowed slightly to Lu Qingchen, and said a little lonely, "I lost. I apologize for what I said before." Lu Qingchen was shocked by Lan Zhao's reaction. He didn't expect that Lan Xiao, who was so arrogant just now, would apologize to him at this moment. "Shouldn't you hate me? You make me look so ungraceful," he muttered in his heart. After being in a daze for about 2 seconds, Lu Qingchen finally reacted and hurriedly stepped forward to help Lan Xiao, who bowed to apologize to him. Scratching his head, he said a little embarrassedly, "No, I am also partly to blame, senior sister. You don't have to be like this." Lan Xiao looked up in surprise, staring at the boy's pretty face. I didn't expect that the freshman who was so arrogant just now would have such a cute side at this moment. Thinking of this, Lan Xiao couldn't help but chuckle, and said to Lu Qingchen in a very gentle tone, "It was senior sister's fault before, and the words were indeed a little inappropriate. After the trial is over, Lan Xiao will personally arrange a banquet to welcome the freshman, and please be sure to come, junior brother." Seeing that the colder senior sister in front of him was talking like this, what else could Lu Qingchen do? So I could only nod helplessly. "Then thank you, senior sister." Li Yanqing, who was standing nearby, looked at the two people in front of him and showed a satisfied smile. This is the mindset that students of Tiandao Holy Academy should have. At this moment, Yushan, who had won the victory, couldn't help but be shocked when he saw this scene on the number 1 ring. "He is indeed Brother Chen," Yushan reacted after a moment, quickly helped up the senior who fell on the ground, and said loudly, "I'm sorry, senior. I want to apologize to you, junior." Han Meng in the distance could not help but cover his face when he saw the scene between the two of them, and then left in a hurry. Lu Qingxue, who also saw this scene, was stunned at the moment. She didn't expect that her brother would change so quickly. The burgundy-haired woman next to her poked her face with her hand and said with a smile, "Xiaochen is really good at playing. He captured a core female student before the trial was over." When Lu Qingxue heard what she said, she couldn't help but waved her pink fist and retorted, "Xiaochen is not such a person." Some of the senior students outside the ring have begun to boil, especially the second-year students couldn't help but howl when they saw Lan Xiao suddenly becoming gentle towards Lu Qingchen. "Ah, my goddess! The new students in this class are not good. Brothers, come with me to teach this kid a lesson." "Brother supports you, go on your own." Lan Xiao, who heard the howling of the second-year students, pulled back her hair in embarrassment. His face was slightly red and he said to Lu Qingchen, "Lan Xiao would like to congratulate my junior here in advance for winning the honor of Rookie King." After saying this, Lan Xiao immediately turned around and prepared to walk down the ring. Just as she turned around, a ray of white light fell on her body, making her couldn't help but let out a soft "mm." After the white light fell, she suddenly felt that all the fatigue and pain in her body had disappeared. Even his soul power has recovered a lot, so Lan Xiao couldn't help but look back and saw Qingchen holding a white lotus in his palm and looking at her with a smile. Seeing the bright smile on Qingchen's face, Lan Xiao spat lightly and hurriedly left the ring. Qingchen couldn't help but shake his head when he heard the howls of these students and ignored them. Instead, he flew towards the Tiandao arena, raised his hands and shouted loudly. "All the freshmen who won the challenge just now, come to me." Hearing Qingchen's voice, the freshmen who won the victory flew to the Tiandao arena one after another. "Quiet!" Qingchen shouted at this moment, and the excited crowd calmed down instantly. "Let's get to know the 5 best students of this year." He pointed at the 5 freshmen on the Tiandao arena and said loudly to the senior students below the arena. "Please remember their names." Section 48. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 56. Brother and Sister Meet. Qingchen pointed at Qingchen and several other students on the Tiandao arena and said to the people below the arena. They are Zhengyu, Yushan, Mu Ningyue, Qingchen, and Qingchen. At the same time, they are also the freshmen with the best performance in this assessment. Except for Qingchen, the other 4 will be rewarded with 500 points each. As soon as the voice fell, the senior students under the arena began to whisper to each other, "What's going on? Why didn't Qingchen get any points after defeating the core students?" Many questions arose in the minds of these students. This is what the senior students around the arena are thinking at the moment. Everyone stared at Qingchen, waiting for what he would say next. Qingchen smiled at the students under the ring and continued to say loudly. Since Qingchen defeated the second-year core student and defeated the opponent beyond his level, an additional 500 points will be awarded. In addition, as Qingchen topped the National Martial Arts exam, the reward will also be issued by Tiandao Xingyuan. That the 3 vice presidents who had just left had returned at some point, along with a handsome middle-aged man. The middle-aged man was very handsome, with distinct features and an angular face that made him look exceptionally handsome. At this moment, he had his hands behind his back. Looking like a master, the handsome man was looking at the dean on the ring at this time, as if he understood something. Qingchen suddenly said loudly. "Now please invite Dean Long of our Tiandao Xingyuan to present awards to these students on our ring." As soon as he finished speaking, the handsome middle-aged man slowly walked over and nodded to Qingchen. Next, he looked at the freshmen and old students under the ring and waved to these students. The crowd was suddenly excited, and they kept waving at the handsome man to show their response. The woman with wine-red hair covered her face and said to Qingchen beside her. "Every time I see him like this, I feel ashamed to see people. He is too showy." Qingchen understood what she meant, and shook her head with some amusement to express her helplessness. Dean Long was very satisfied with the performance of these students. After everyone calmed down, he began to get to the point. He said to everyone in his magnetic voice. "Now I, Long Feng, will present the award to the best freshman of this year." He slowly walked towards the 5 people on the stage. At this moment, Qingchen and the other 5 people on the stage were a little nervous. "This is the dean of Tiandao Xingyuan." Long Feng seemed to see that everyone was a little nervous, and said to everyone gently. "You have passed such a difficult freshman trial, why are you still nervous?" The gentle voice was like a spring breeze, calming the nervous hearts of everyone. Long Feng first walked up to Zhengyu, took out a storage ring and handed it to him. Zhengyu took it with excitement. Then it was Yushan and Mu Ningyue. After Yushan and Mu Ningyue both got the storage rings, Long Feng announced to the audience. The top 100 in this National Martial Arts exam will each be rewarded with 20,000 soul stones and a storage ring. Let us welcome them to Tiandao Academy and become one of the students. As if they knew the dean's little hobby, the audience cheered and applauded hard. Seeing that everyone was very cooperative, the dean nodded with satisfaction. Then the dean walked up to Qingchen and Qingchen, showed them an approving look, smiled, and took out 2 small jade boxes and handed them to them. Qingchen took the jade box and played with it. There seemed to be a green bead inside. Qingchen's eyes lit up when she saw the bead in the jade box, and she obviously knew what it was. Not sure if he could see what Qingchen was thinking, Long Feng patiently explained to the two of them. This is a soul bead. Someone will teach you how to use it after the entrance ceremony. Surprisingly, he did not announce any rewards this time, but directly said to the audience below the stage. Finally, let us get to know the top 3 of this national martial arts exam. They are Murong Qingchen, who ranked 3rd in the country, and Qingchen, who ranked 1st in the national martial arts exam. The two felt strange when they heard these words coming from the dean's mouth, but they still cooperated and waved to the audience below. This handsome dean seemed reluctant to leave the Tiandao arena, or he was not satisfied with the reaction of the students below. He suddenly shouted at the end. In order to welcome the freshmen of this year, the core cafeteria of the academy will let you eat for free for 1 day. As soon as this word fell, the students on the field became excited instantly, and they all rushed to the core cafeteria with a roar. At this moment, Long Feng had already left the arena, but his mood also fluctuated violently. Why did he have to come in person to present awards at a freshman ceremony? It was because of what Vice Dean Chu said in front of him, but Dean Chu was not sure. He just told Long Feng that a freshman had twin martial souls, one martial soul had 7 soul slots and the other martial soul had only 1 soul slot. Before Dean Chu finished speaking, he hurried over and said he was going to present awards to the freshmen. He carefully identified them when he personally presented awards to everyone just now. When he was presenting the award to Qingchen, he felt the fiery aura in his body and confirmed it almost instantly. Twin martial souls, one of which is the supreme martial soul. This time I'm rich. Long Feng didn't know how many years it had been since the entire academy had produced a student with the supreme martial soul, and the other martial soul was also a top talent. Maybe this year's students have the hope of becoming the owners of those heavenly Tao divine weapons, the supreme martial soul. Monster Academy, God of War Academy, let's see how you can jump around this time. Compared with the addition of the supreme martial soul, the cafeteria's free opening for 1 day seems insignificant. However, Qingchen did not study the soul bead carefully at this moment, but looked in the direction just now. He seemed to see his sister Qingxue, and hurriedly flew over there. Yushan saw that Qingchen's reaction was a bit abnormal, and hurriedly followed Qingchen to fly over. The distance was getting closer and closer, and Qingchen saw the 2 women in front of him smiling at him flying over. A ray of light fell, and Qingchen walked straight forward. After Qingchen walked in front of the stunningly beautiful woman, he stared at her carefully for a few seconds. He could no longer hold back his excitement and shouted to the woman. Sister, I finally see you. Chapter 57. Call me Sister She. The warmth after reunion. Sister, I finally see you. Hearing her brother's words, Qingxue's eyes were red, and she gently embraced Qingchen in her arms. I knew you would definitely take this path, it's just a matter of time. She patted Qingchen's back gently and murmured. Qingxue's temperament was gentle and calm, and she spent most of her time practicing. If Long she hadn't kept telling her every day that the top scorers of this year's National Martial Arts exam had to come to Tiandao Xinyuan, she might still be practicing at this moment. The moment she saw her brother, she couldn't help but recall what Long she had nagged her before. Xiaoxue, look, the top of the National Martial Arts exam list is coming to our college, and his name is only 1 character different from yours. Qingxue, who didn't care about other things, couldn't help but glance at the 3 words on the screen when she heard what Long she said. Qingchen, the same name as his brother, but in her heart, Qingchen is just a little boy who is not keen on martial arts and is only in the first level of the body tempering realm. Maybe it's hard to get into an ordinary martial arts university, so how can he get into the 3 famous schools? Qingxue also thought about whether it was someone with the same name, but her intuition told her that this was her brother. Since listening to Long Shi's words, Qingxue's heart began to become uneasy, seeing that the day of the freshman entrance ceremony had finally arrived. Long Shi had been nagging in her ear since morning. So this scene appeared in front of her. Originally, half of the students had left the martial arts field at this moment, and they all went to the cafeteria to eat. The other half of the students may have been slower or wanted to take a closer look at some people, so they didn't go to the cafeteria. None of this matters. It was just that when Qingchen, the first in this class, left the ring and rushed to the 2 stunning women, many students who were still present were stunned for a moment. When they saw the 2 hugging each other, many senior students howled. No. What did I see? Why do these freshmen have the right? I want it too. Come on, you are just a toad, and even your own kind may not like you. Chapter 49. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A toad that doesn't want to eat swan meat is not a good toad. Countless strange words came out of the mouths of these senior students. Not only did these senior students have this reaction, even Lu Qingchen's good brother Yushan was stunned. It's unfair, how can brother Chen's sister be so beautiful? As if he heard the ghosts and howls of the crowd, Lu Qingchen scratched his head a little embarrassedly, and said to Lu Qingxue in front of him. Sister, this is not a place to talk, let's find a quieter place. Lu Qingxue and Long Shi felt that what he said made sense, so the three of them left the martial arts field and prepared to return to their residences. Seeing Yushan still standing there, Lu Qingxue chuckled and said softly to Yushan. You are Xiaochen's good friend, come together. Yushan scratched his head a little embarrassedly, so he followed. Core student area. The four came to the door of a small villa, and Lu Qingchen looked up and saw building number 1 of the 3rd grade. It turned out that his sister and that senior sister were both 3rd-year students. Seeing Lu Qingchen looking up at the row of small words above the villa, Lu Qingxue's soft voice came. Xiaochen, go in first, and I will explain it to you slowly later. So the four of them entered the small villa together. Pushing the door open and going in, Lu Qingchen found that this villa was not much different from his residence, and there was also a spacious living room on the 1st floor. What surprised Lu Qingchen was that the living room on the 1st floor was decorated, and most of the decorations and even the walls were fiery red. Lu Qingchen looked at Lu Qingxue with some doubts. He knew that Lu Qingxue would not be quiet and would not spend a lot of time decorating the living room. Seeing him looking at her with a puzzled look, Lu Qingxue explained helplessly. I don't live here alone, there is also. And your sister she. The woman with wine-red hair wrapped her hair with her fingertips and explained to him with a smile. Lu Qingchen didn't know this senior yet, but he knew from her appearance that she must be his sister's good friend. Seeing Long Shi say this, Lu Qingxue said to her brother with some amusement. Her name is Long Shi, she is my sister's good friend, and we have always lived together. Lu Qingchen nodded, indicating that he understood, and told the truth. Senior sister is so beautiful. Of course. Don't call me senior sister, it's too strange to call me senior sister. Long Shi was very satisfied to hear the truth from Lu Qingchen, and then tilted her head to look at him. You should call me sister she in the future, you know. Lu Qingxue shook her head helplessly, knowing that her good friend had this personality. In fact, Long Shi was just more lively in front of Lu Qingxue, but she acted very cold outside. If other senior students saw it here, they might be shocked. This is the first time that Long Shi is so enthusiastic to a boy. In fact, Long Shi's enthusiasm is not entirely because of her good friend Lu Qingxue, another part was because the breath emanating from Lu Qingchen made him feel very comfortable, with an indescribable feeling. It was almost time for dinner, and thinking of Lu Qingchen and Yushan who had just finished the assessment and had not eaten yet, Lu Qingxue turned to Long Shi and said. Xiaoxi, go back to the inner courtyard to purchase some materials and see if there are any good ingredients. Let's eat here today. Lu Qingxue's words made Long Shi's eyes light up, and she saw some surprise in her eyes. Xiaoxue, are you going to cook yourself today? Lu Qingxue looked at Long Shi's serious expression and nodded with some amusement. Whoosh. After hearing what she said, Long Shi turned into a stream of light and disappeared. Lu Qingchen laughed secretly in his heart. It seems that his sister's good friend seems to be a foodie. Yushan couldn't help but look forward to seeing Long Shi's reaction. After Long Shi left, Lu Qingxue took Lu Qingchen upstairs. She had a lot of things to say to the handsome boy in front of her. Seeing this, Lu Qingchen hurriedly went upstairs with Lu Qingxue. Before going upstairs, he did not forget to say to Yushan. Sit down for a while, I'll be back soon. After that, he followed Lu Qingxue upstairs. At this moment, in a luxurious villa with beautiful mountains and clear waters, Long Shi was shaking the body of a handsome middle-aged man, and kept shouting. Give it to me, Dad, you are the most handsome. The handsome middle-aged man seemed to enjoy his daughter's praise, slowly took out something from the storage ring and handed it to Long Shi. Thank you, Dad. Whoosh. As soon as the thing was in hand, long she turned into a stream of light and disappeared. Chapter 58 Gift of Small Fortune Pill, Core Student Area, 3rd Grade, 2nd Floor Room of Building Number 1, Lu Qingxue pushed open the door and went in, and Lu Qingchen followed closely behind. What came into view was a fiery red, and there were many wallpapers and stickers. The most interesting thing is that there is a huge bare pillow and countless dolls on the bed. Seeing her brother's weird face, Lu Qingxue explained helplessly. Xiaoxi likes these fluffy things, and these wallpaper stickers are all decorated by her. Lu Qingchen nodded. It seems that this senior sister is quite interesting, so he said to Lu Qingxue. Sister, she is quite interesting. This way the room doesn't look so deserted. Lu Qingxue also nodded in agreement, indicating that Lu Qingchen was right. If she lived here alone, there would probably be no decorations. Xiaochen, you. Sister, you. After a moment of silence, the two suddenly spoke in unison. Xiaochen, you go first. Lu Qingxue's voice was pleasant and a little soft. At this moment, Lu Qingchen seemed a little uneasy. He stared at Lu Qingxue seriously and asked. Sister, have you been in Tiandao Xingyuan for the past few years? Are you doing well? Why don't you go home to visit? Lu Qingchen spoke very quickly and asked several questions in a row. It can be seen that he was very excited. Yes, after being taken away by the teacher a few years ago, I have been living in the academy. I live well here, and the teacher treats me very well, and Xiaoxi nags in my ear every day, so it's not boring. It's just that I miss home sometimes. Why don't you go back if you miss home? Do your parents know you are here? Lu Qingchen's heart was full of questions, and he asked excitedly. Lu Qingxue's face showed a look of reminiscence, and she said softly. I also thought about going back, but the teacher told me not to go back, and my dad also wrote a letter to the teacher. Ah, wrote a letter to your teacher? What did he say? Lu Qingxue frowned and said uncertainly. The teacher showed me the letter, and it was indeed my dad's handwriting. There was nothing else in the letter except asking the teacher to remind me to practice well. And the teacher told me that our parents have unfinished things to do, and I don't know much about other things. Lu Qingchen nodded, and understood a little. What about you, Xiaochen? How did you become the first in the martial arts exam? I remember you didn't like martial arts before, and how are your parents now? Are they healthy? Section 50. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Qingxue had no contact with her family for several years, and she also had many questions and worries in her heart. Sister, I was very lucky and found a bottle of elixir, and then I gave one to each of my parents. My parents left before I came to the academy. It is said that he wants to do something that has not been completed before. After hearing this, Lu Qingxue couldn't help but ask. What are your parents going to do? Is there any danger? Lu Qingchen patted his chest and said with confidence. My parents are not in danger. After taking the elixir, my father told me in a letter that he recovered. Not only that, my father and mother both broke the mirror and told me not to go to them. He said that I will know everything when I reach the realm of king. After listening to what Lu Qingchen said, Lu Qingxue let go of her worries. I couldn't help but ask. Xiaochen, you said you were preparing to take the entrance exam to Wuhuan University after taking the elixir, and after Dad took the elixir, not only did your body recover, but you and your mother both broke up, right? Lu Qingchen nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. At this time, his sister covered her mouth and asked in a low voice with some confusion. What kind of elixir is so magical? Lu Qingchen smiled, and with a flash of light on his hand, a small white jade-colored porcelain bottle appeared in an instant. Then he handed it to Lu Qingxue in front of him. Taking the small porcelain bottle handed over by Lu Qingchen, she poured out a crystal-clear elixir the size of a longan from the porcelain bottle. This elixir gave off a refreshing aura as soon as it was taken out. Lu Qingxue looked at it for a moment and found that she had never seen this kind of elixir before, so she couldn't help but ask. Xiaochen, what kind of elixir is this? I haven't seen it in the academy. Sister, Dad said this is the little good fortune pill. It is very precious. You should eat it quickly. What, you said this is, a small fortune pill? Lu Qingchen nodded seriously. Lu Qingshue's eyes were a little complicated. Although she had never seen the little creation pill, she had seen it in an ancient book in the college's library. Any elixir or treasure of heaven, material, or earth with the word creation in it is extremely precious. Moreover, the effects of the little creation pill are even more amazing, including cleansing tendons, cutting marrow, and improving physical fitness. Below the holy realm, there is an unconditional improvement to a higher realm. Moreover, no matter who gets this elixir, he will swallow it immediately, so how can he keep it in his hands? Thinking of this, Lu Qingxue put the elixir back into the bottle and gave it back to Lu Qingchen. Xiao Chen, I can't have this pill. The little good fortune pill is so precious. Besides. Sister, no need to say anything, I know what you are thinking. Before Lu Qingxue finished speaking, he was interrupted by his brother waving his hand. Lu Qingchen stared at the person in front of him with his bright eyes and said extremely seriously. My parents and I have already eaten, and we gave one to the boy Yushan, the remaining one was originally intended for you. But. Okay, no need to say more, if you still think of me as your younger brother, just take it as soon as possible. Lu Qingxue took a deep look at the handsome young man in front of her and said nothing more. He took the little fortune pill from Lu Qingchen's hand and swallowed the precious pill directly. Xiaochen, help me protect the law. A quiet training room. Dean, this is probably what happened. I'm not very sure, so I hope you can go and take a look. A handsome middle-aged man said in the training room to a stunning woman who was practicing with her eyes closed, with her red lips slightly parted. The woman called the dean asked seriously. Are you sure? Does this new student really have that kind of martial spirit? Long Feng went there in person. Lu Qingfeng said with certainty. I can feel that ancient and noble aura, and the other martial spirit is indeed the jade god lotus of creation. Judging from the performance during the battle, it is impossible for a martial soul with a soul tank to have such outrageous combat effectiveness. I understand, you go back first. The woman nodded and stopped talking. Seeing this woman's reaction, Lu Qingfeng became a little anxious. Dean, you'd better go and have a look. If you go late, you might be intercepted by Dean Long in advance. She frowned slightly, as if she had thought of something, and the woman's figure gradually blurred until she disappeared. Lu Qingfeng was the only one left in the already quiet training room. Chapter 59, Respect Martial Arts and Be the King. At this time, she was rushing towards the core area. In the room, Lu Qingchen felt Lu Qingshue's aura rising steadily, and the soul power in his body continued to surge. He had seen this kind of aura on Lei Xian, and the aura exuding from Lu Qingxue at this time was stronger than Lei Xian's. When Lu Qingxue swallowed the pill, she didn't feel anything unusual. Just when she was about to feel the changes in her body, suddenly, an extremely powerful force of creation rose up. This force of creation soon began to circulate around the meridians throughout the body. There is no pain like taking other pills, only the extremely mild power of creation moisturizing the whole body. Moreover, Lu Qingxue himself has extremely high talent, because of the characteristics of his martial soul. His body is inherently pure, without any impurities. At this moment, under the transformation of the little creation pill, the whole body is emitting a faint light. A huge force of creation instantly broke through that tough barrier. The moment Lu Qingxue broke through, Lu Qingchen only felt a powerful momentum coming towards him. But fortunately, due to the specialness of his martial spirit, he did not feel the strong pressure brought by Lu Qingshue's breakthrough. It lasted for about a few minutes, and the aura emitted during the breakthrough gradually disappeared. Lu Qingshue's eyes flashed with surprise, and she was about to share the joy of the breakthrough with her brother. Crunch! Just when Lu Qingxue was about to speak, the door was suddenly pushed open. She opened the door and walked in with a face full of joy, but when she felt the aura on Lu Qingshue's body, the joy on her face instantly turned into shock. She didn't quite believe the situation in front of her at the moment, and asked slightly hesitantly. Xiaoxue, you made a breakthrough. Lu Qingxue smiled and nodded to her. Have you really broken through to that level? Long Shi's eyes lit up and he shouted in surprise. Yes, Xiao Shi, I have reached the level of martial arts. Lu Qingxue said to Long Shi with a pleasant voice. Only Lu Qingchen looked confused at this time. Lu Qingxue broke through and he knew, but what is the realm of respecting martial arts? At that moment, I couldn't help but ask. Sister, what is the realm of Zunwu? Lu Qingxue saw that his younger brother still didn't know the divisions of martial arts realms, so he patiently explained. After the body tempering realm, there is the awakening realm, also called the spiritual martial realm. You should know this. Lu Qingchen nodded. After breaking through the Lingwu realm, there is the earth martial realm, and after the earth martial realm, there is the Tianwu realm. That day's martial arts breakthrough was. He couldn't help but say. Lu Qingxue smiled slightly. Yes, after Tianwu comes Zunwu, and it is also the last state of cultivating soul power. What about after the martial arts realm? Lu Qingchen was a little excited. He wanted to know when he would reach the realm of kings. Lu Qingxue's eyes were full of hope, and she looked into Lu Qingchen's eyes and said seriously. Being respected as a warrior, you should be a king. Of course, this is also a huge watershed.